eBay obviously is a very good and very popular way of selling a massive range of everything you can think of. It's also actually proven very successful in terms of selling and buying sailing boats and particularly sailing parts. But there are also many pitfalls, and I think we'd be very good today if we can actually highlight some of those things. It's not avoid it, it's definitely not, but go in with your eyes wide open. Where to start is very important, and you've got to be honest about yourself and your sailing experience straight away. There is no point in actual fact saying, oh, look at that RS 800, how whizzy it actually is, and think I'm going to go into that if all I've ever sailed before is a Pico. So that's the first thing. Also be very aware of your physical size, but also, am I going to sail majority of the time single-handed, or am I going to try and introduce my family to sailing, or would want to particularly sail with my wife or partner, or what? Am I going to sail with my children? And that's very important. That actually makes a very important decision-making process in what type of boat to actually get. And one of the very confusing things is there's a myriad of sailing boats and names which do not seem to make any sense to the outsider. Yachts and Yachting is a good place to start, for instance. On their website they actually list all the different types of boats that has ever been or are popular in this country, and will briefly say what they are. So do the research to start with. It might take you a complete afternoon or evening of actually just looking at lots and lots of different boats. Do that to start with, and that will avoid you buying a boat that isn't suited to your type of sailing. And also think about, where am I going to sail? If I'm actually going to sail on a relatively small gravel pit, you don't want a big boat, a big trapeze boat that actually needs space. Equally, if I'm going to try and do my sailing on an open sea, again, that might actually slightly affect the decision-making process. If you see an advert for a boat that you think suits you, I would do research. Okay, go and look, for instance, on the Class Association's website. They can be quite a mound of useful information. They will quite often list things like what's quite often known to go wrong with the boats and what to look out for. Equally, has the class of boat gone under any development that you need to be aware of, so that you might, has this boat got it? Is it a good buy? They will also quite often do things like list the sail numbers against the age of boat. So again, you can check that what you're buying is actually what it says is on the tin, and that's actually really important. The other thing I would also very commonly do is, if you are going to be involved in a sailing club, or if you're already a member, if you're not a member, travel around some of your local sailing clubs. Go into those, particularly on something like a Wednesday night or a weekend when there's going to be lots of people there, and actually see if you can get to know a few people who might actually be able to point you in the right direction of what to look out for on these boats. And that's actually really important. Do some research first before you actually start to buy and actually understand. But very importantly, also go and look at something like Apollo Duck, which is an extremely good website with a very unusual name, but it's the best way of selling boats in the country. But what you can do into there is you can put in a search in, if you, for instance, you're interested in a roundabout, I could call it a streaker, a little single-hander, put streaker in the search engine there, it will come up with all the boats it's got on there, by the sail number, by the age, and you can check the price. And in that way you can start getting a feel for what the market value of the boat actually is, and therefore what the boat's been asked for on eBay. Make sure you're not overbidding for something that is actually you could buy on the open market for less money. If there isn't that much information in the advert, big thing is always ask questions, and plenty of them. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and if they don't actually come back and answer them clearly, don't bid for it. If they can't answer your questions, and sometimes it's genuinely a situation that people actually advertising the boats don't actually know what they've got, and those you can actually pick those up. But if they can't answer the questions, or unwilling to, or very vague about it, be pretty wary of the boat. If they mention any sort of repair, or the boat needs some TLC, the classic words, or it will need some work to it, ask them to send you some photographs of what that repair work actually is, or what the damage actually is, to actually check that situation out before. If they're not willing to go and pick up a camera and actually go out and take some pictures and send to you, then I would again not bid for it. I would always ask the question, is the boat complete? Is the boat ready to go sailing? and actually find out if they come back and say it is, but we're missing a few things. Get them to define exactly what they're missing, and actually again check out if they are missing some things, what those would cost new to buy. Because again, it's a very common situation I've come across way too often, where people buy a boat on eBay thinking it's a bargain, and in actual fact then it becomes a financial black hole for them, that they actually end up buying quite high value kit to make the boat complete. If you've got friendly with anybody in the sailing club, it could well be worth asking them to come along and look at the boat if at all possible. Anybody with experience, get them, if you can, get them involved, or come to people like ourselves, or the good local, your boat repairer or your local chandler, and ask them if they can actually help you. Most of them will, on the basis that if they help, you'll be coming to them as a regular customer. In terms of collecting the boat, I would be, once you go into the bidding process, be very aware and prepared you need to go and get the boat very quickly after the auction actually finishes, and that's very important to clear your diary. Because what you want to do is not pay for it until you've actually seen the boat. So again, also be prepared to take cash with you. If they are actually out pushing for some money in advance, actually just make a small PayPal deposit with something in writing beforehand from them to say that this, what's been agreed, okay, but go along and actually be prepared to pay cash on the day. The majority of this is going to happen actually quite often at a sailing club. So yes, there's a piece of water there, you can actually just quickly lob the boat on, and I would particularly do that if you're buying a wooden boat. They are prone to leak like a sieve, and actually just sticking it straight on the water will tell you pretty straight away whether that is you've got a pretty severely leaking boat. I would also want to be able to pretty much rig the boat there and then, and if they're not willing to be involved in that, then actually I would walk away at that point. Usually that means they've got something to hide, because they know that there's stuff not right with the boat. But yes, be prepared to actually stick most of the stuff off, make sure it's all there and it's all working, unroll the sails. You will be staggered at it, even people blithely unaware of this, got their sails stored in the garage, it's probably not been out for a couple of years. Mice absolutely love sails as nesting material, and how many times we open up a sail that hasn't been used in donkey's years to find multiple holes in it. At which point that's probably quite an honest mistake, and you might well be able to arrive at a sensible, it's going to cost X amount of money to get repaired, we'll knock that off the price of the boat situation. But again, the advantage of actually taking money with you and not paying in advance is the minute it's not as described, either walk away or agree or go, well, what we're going to do in terms of the asking price.